Well, you got to like self-aware people who email us. Like this came in 20 minutes ago, and it's signed, "Sorry for being a Brian."
Oh,
good.
No.
At least he knows it right away.
Right.
Well, it's okay, but I mean, is it your name? So, I mean, it's not really your choice.
He should still apologize for being a Brian.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, without even being named Brian.
And then that would be even worse. And then he has questions about. So if you listen to us on the radio. Or if you listen to the radio at any given time, you may have occasionally heard the emergency broadcast system. I think they actually call it the emergency alert system now. And this is the thing where they come on in the event of emergency, and they play this sound that sounds like a fax machine or a modem right now.
Google modem.
It used to be an awful, only dogs could hear it tone. Oh, it was so terrible. And they updated it to this even worse. Well,
yeah.
it's not as jarring but this other sound.
It isn't, but it's still bad.
It's awful. That's the point. It's like to become modern now. For those of you that have your alerts on your phone, that's why like the Amber Alert alarm is so jarring.
Yeah.
Because they want you to suddenly go, oh my God, what's happening?
Right.
Do I need to shelter in place?
Can't make it pleasant.
No, nobody's gonna suddenly stop everything if you hear birds in the ocean.
I fall asleep.
So Brian, is that a tugboat that needs its horn fixed?
Tug.
So he heard this on one of our radio stations earlier this morning, and he writes in with these questions about who controls when they do the test, and the sound sounded. I have no idea, dude. That is one of the few things that I don't have to pay attention to at all because we are in our own studio and the radio stations, they carry our show, but they're responsible for everything that happens radio-wise, everything that in terms of if the emergency alert system needs to be activated, they do it on their end. The only guy that might have an answer for you is Kyle because he used to be on the radio station end of this.
Yeah, so I can shed some light. Usually it comes in once a month, sometimes twice. It depends on what it's scheduled on, but it is scheduled on a timer, and if it goes off during a commercial, usually that's just going, it's not supposed to. So sometimes somebody will be there hitting a button, paying attention, but for the most part, it will just go off when the timer is done.
Is it still triggered by the local station that has been deemed the emergency alert station? Like, are they still the ones scheduling it?
Oh, I have no idea who scheduled it.
He asked that too. And that's how it was literally like 2 decades ago. Whoever the local station was that would be deemed to everybody go listen to this station, which they don't say that anymore because any one of us can handle these emergencies.
Kyle, what's going to happen when they hear this?
Awful.
Are the board ops going to freak out?
That is it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
God.
Hopefully she's paying attention.
Oh, they still have that in there?
God.
Do they have that back in there?
I don't know.
It wasn't enough.
This is
And then
definitely
you
from
add that.
This is from 2011.
Yeah. That is terrible.
God.
So.
I had no idea. Like, there's some other entity scheduling this thing.
Oh yeah,
and
no.
deciding when it plays.
Look, this is the easy
Big
answer.
radio.
The easy answer for this is what you would expect. It's government. Remember the Federal Communications Commission. This is what they do. They oversee radio. You've got to send in when you do these things. Blah blah blah.
I thought you got a notice, and I'm like, wow, I've never had to play that thing.
Yeah, that's disturbing. It used to be that the FCC can come into the radio station anytime, and whoever is running the show at the radio station, if they can't execute the emergency action system right there on the spot in front of an FCC inspector, it's an enormous fine. Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Holy cow. Maybe I
fine.
did know how to do it, and I forgot.
You were certainly shown multiple times, but that was 25 years ago.
Yeah, good Lord.
Because you're old. So that's it. Sorry, Brian. That's the best we got for you. Yesterday, Queenie regaled us with stories of why Kim Kardashian is the greatest human being of all time.
I didn't. That's not actually what I said. I said I respect your business sense.
Am I misrepresenting?
Horribly.
But didn't I see you building a statue to her out front before the show?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it's there.
it looks like Kim Kardashian, but it was actually Mr. Potato Head.
Okay, all right. That do not assign gender to Potato Head.
Hey, they didn't take away his gender. They provided a third non-binary option. I don't get why people are so angry about it.
Because we have to be angry about everything all the time.
But anyways, about my shrine.
It's most important to distort the truth so that we can be angry about it.
Right.
The reason I bring that up is a new survey of more than 30,000 American adults. So that's extraordinary. This has to be an online poll because that's an extraordinary number of people. But 63% of us say that Hollywood stars make good politicians.
I didn't say that.
I don't know how. No, I know. But I'm using that as the segue into it's such a broad. They break it down later about which ones, but it's such a broad question to ask someone. Would a Hollywood celebrity make a good politician? I would have to then be able to say, with a caveat, I can name a few. I mean, anyone can make a good politician, but for 2/3 of people to just blanketly say yes is so strange.
Sure, actors could be politicians because politicians are practically actors, aren't they?
Yeah.
I get it.
That's
Is that
what
it?
I'm thinking.
Is it that simple?
Well, I don't know if that's. I feel like that's what we're thinking because I don't know the number of people that really believe how much they act and how much they're liars. I mean, at least on the fringes, they really believe them, right? But I mean, do you think it's 63% that gets that?
No.
They're just right.
No, I don't think. No, I don't think they view it through that prism.
Yeah,
I
think that. Yeah, I'm with Brandon. That's why they would make a good politician because they know how to act. But
I feel like I'm giving them too much credit because I'm saying the 63% are saying, well, anybody can be a good politician, but that's giving people too much credit as well. It's got to be our lust for celebrity.
Yes, and we're thinking that they're so well traveled and they hobnob with all the world leaders and politicians, so they know what's up.
Yeah, see,
right?
now
Like that seems more like it.
That makes more sense to me because it's the worst possible way to decide who should be running things, and it's that elitist attitude that this stupid country seems to embrace over and over again.
Well, and I also think it comes from that whole, like, they say really awesome stuff on Twitter.
Awesome.
They say really inspiring stuff on Twitter, and the comments they make about what actual politicians are doing are really spot on, so they could totally be a president.
God. So if you, I know, I think almost all of us would say Mike Rowe could be a good president.
Oh, sure.
I mean, give him a shot. He of course, is not mentioned at all in the survey. But they do break it down and this is where, to me, it gets super dumb. Because overwhelmingly, you don't know what any of these individuals truly think, truly believe. They've never campaigned. Most of them aren't even very politically involved, other than Queenie's reference to Twitter,
where
you might know, okay, they lean left, they lean right, etc. But the idea that we just look at the number one person, 58% of people say, and this is for president, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now,
what?
He seems like a nice enough guy.
Sure.
Very affable and good looking. But what in the world makes us think?
Why?
58% of people say they would support him right now for president without knowing anything.
Maybe it's that whole beer thing. I'd hang out with him.
Okay, could be nothing more than that.
This takes me back to the movie Idiocracy, where a wrestler is going to be the president.
Well, we already lived through that, right? We had 4 years of that almost.
Yeah, but Trump wasn't a wrestler. This is.
But I mean, he was a reality star.
Trump is in the WWE Hall of Fame.
I did know that. Yes.
And I mean, the rest of society is the movie Idiocracy at this point.
I can agree with this. I could see that if we gave The Rock a chance, maybe he could be a good president, because if you follow him on Instagram, he's a really nice guy. And I think the likability thing, having a beer with him, sort of at the angle works, but he also just does a lot of good things for people. He's just he's very humanitarian.
You know what this is for me? It's a word thing. When 58% of people say they would support him for president, that is different than what you said, Brandon. You said, I'd give him a chance. And what you really mean by that is you'd give him a chance to run and to answer some questions and give you the opportunity to, because you like had a connection for a while with Pete Buttigieg. Because you liked some things. So if The Rock had a chance to say some things like that and then you react, that's different than just saying, oh yeah, I totally would support The Rock. Which is how Schwarzenegger got elected 15 years ago.
If it was one of those things where it was like, if a celebrity had to be president, which celebrity would you pick? I wouldn't pick Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but I understand why people would. I would pick Madonna. Or Kim Kardashian. Sure, she's done stuff.
I do like that question better. I hate your ansers, but
I need someone who's kind of mean. Like I think that like the way that Like if you think they're nice, right? Like Brandon feels that he's nice and humanitarian, he could do something else within the cabinet for niceness or something. But like
niceness, yes, the Secretary of Niceness,
right?
The Czar of
Secretary
Nice.
Humanitarian. Because like I feel like the world's an ugly, awful place, and we don't need a nice president.
There's nothing mean at all about Mike Rowe. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body.
But I feel he could lay it down if need be. I feel like he could protect us.
There is no indication of that in anything. He is diplomatic as hell. I mean, he continues to fluster people who can't figure out where he aligns politically because he's so brilliant with the way he answers questions.
Maybe mean is the wrong word. Tough, strong. Like,
Dwayne Johnson is not tough and strong.
He travels with a gym.
These words matter.
I was taking Brandon's view of him, right? Like if he is like a humanitarian type, well then you put him in a different category on the cabinet.
Right, because no humanitarian can break somebody's neck.
I think it's more of a commentary on me and the softness that I exude.
Oh, this because you like the Weeknd's halftime show?
Must have been it.
Yeah.
I'm just really surprised that out of every celebrity, they pick, like, the main one is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Why not somebody who has some kind of, like, why not Jimmy Fallon? Because then it's at least he sits at a desk, and so we could picture it, you know? Or why don't, I like the idea of the czar of niceness. We could do a czar of niceness, but it could be like a queen of niceness for the social media people, and it could be Kim Kardashian.
The other name most mentioned right behind The Rock is Matthew McConaughey, who has actually talked seriously about running for governor of Texas. And he comes in at 55%.
Well, we know he would line with the all right.
I like him and all, but I just think he'd be a mess.
Here's what's interesting about Matthew McConaughey. I have hated Matthew McConaughey for the most part for most of his career. But when I listened to him over the last 2 years talk about world events, politics, COVID, he is very well-spoken, well thought out. I don't agree with everything that he comes to a conclusion on, but it's extraordinarily intelligent.
I've never heard any.
See, and this is the difference. If you would have asked me 10 years ago, Queenie's question of if it has to be a celebrity, who would it be? I would never have chosen Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Then I actually listen to him and I go, hey, I want to hear more. Give me a chance. Which is the opposite of this survey.
Yes.
Just give it to The Rock.
I've just seen him the interviews you'll do on with entertainment, right? Not something that you're talking about.
When he actually engages, like you would have to do to run for president, he's a pretty thoughtful human being.
I think we should change the 55% one to Wendy Williams, because how great would it be to for a big announcement to happen, and it just goes, "How you doing, America?" And then she does her whole address of the people. I want that.
Could be her and Kim Kardashian on the same ticket.
I don't think they would run together. That's ridiculous.
30%.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. None of this topic is ridiculous. Now we've gotten ridiculous. 30%, a third of people say they would like to see Angelina Jolie run for president.
Wow, because she's all involved, right? With
she was an ambassador for the United Nations.
Yeah.
27% would support Oprah. Well, that's been bandied about for decades.
I mean, it's Oprah.
Yeah, let it go. It's not going to happen. Then we get the world's best actor, Tom Hanks, 22%, because he is the scummiest person on the planet, but everybody loves him. 21% would be into Will Smith, who's getting more and more political, and more people are talking about him potentially running for office. Yesterday, he pulled his movie out of Georgia over the voting rights bill. There's another story that Queenie was alluding to. We have to lie about things in order to get angry of them. That whole thing is completely distorted. But you pick a side and you go on. So Will Smith may, in the next 10 years, actually be a viable option.
See, I think we're also showing our true colors. It's who we like.
These
no
are
one
all,
knows any of this stuff. It's who you like.
Except Angelina Jolie. Right?
Yeah,
There's nothing
that
really
one.
likable about her.
You know what?
And she's
There
not even
is,
hot
man.
anymore.
Okay,
So.
What?
Well, jeez, Rob.
You're insane.
Oh, my
I think Will
Lord.
Smith would be a great option because he would just bring the party. He'd bring all the world leaders together and they'd all just start dancing and singing and have a good time.
The inauguration.
Hello.
The inaugural
Let's party.
ball.
And he saved the world in Independence Day.
I honestly think some people look at it like that. I really do.
Absolutely.
Should have been in a barbecue.
And then George Clooney rounds out.
George Clooney?
Rounds out the list.
He couldn't even be Batman.
He doesn't even live in America.